I'm so happy for you all to be here. Thank you all for coming. So before we get into starting the film, let me give you guys a little backstory on this. So I started working on this film almost a year ago, yeah. And this was going to be a completely different film than what actually ended up happening. It was going to be another sad, melancholy type of film like my previous works, Dysmorphia and Contrite. But while I was writing that, I realized I was like, man, this is my last high school film. I got to make something grand. I got to go out with a bang. So I went back to the drawing board and I started brainstorming different ideas, and then I came up with the idea of doing an alien invasion movie. And I grew up watching alien invasion movies. I've been obsessed with aliens my whole life. They're real people. They're real. And then I still liked certain elements of the previous film I was working on, so I took certain plot points of there that I really did like, and I mixed them together with this alien invasion movie, and I made this Frankenstein type of film you're going to see tonight. The journey getting here has been really, really crazy. It's been kind of all over the place, and I doubted myself the whole time. I didn't think it was going to work. I thought it was impossible, but we pulled it off, and it was great. But I wouldn't have been able to pull it off without some really, really amazing people. Starting with my cast, we have the talented Madeline McClung as Emmeline. And of course, we have Ethan Rogers. Unfortunately, Jake couldn't be here tonight, but he was also in the film. Let's give him a round of applause, even though he's not here. And moving on to the crew of this film, we have the talented Ty Miller as an assistant cinematographer. And we also have Joey Sarver, who unfortunately couldn't attend tonight, but let's of course give him a round of applause. And I got to give the biggest shout out to Ryan Romano and Anthony Nedzwicki. They were the composers on the soundtrack of this film. And I got to tell you, this soundtrack is literally out of this world. It is exhilarating, it is thrilling, and I cannot wait for you guys to hear it here tonight. Woo. I also want to give one other shout out to Ryan Romano. He was my associate producer on this film. He worked real closely with me throughout this whole film. He kind of kept my head and my ideas together. I tend to get kind of crazy when I'm writing, so he kept my head screwed on straight. So I got to give Ryan the hugest thank you. Thank you, Ryan. So, who's ready to watch a movie? Woo! Without further ado, here's The Imposter.
Do you think she wanted to buy with my jet? Man, shut the hell up. Nobody wants to walk around looking like a damn disco ball.
I'm gonna cry. Yeah! Thank you guys. So, what'd you guys think?
Yeah!
I want to ask Ethan Rogers and Madeline McClung to come up on stage and take their bows for such a wonderful performance.
And I'm going to ask Ryan Romano and Anthony Dzuki to come up on stage.
And Ty, of course, you too, man.
Thanks to these wonderful people, this movie happened. Give them the biggest round of applause. Come on.
So I just want to thank you guys again so much for coming out here. I've always wanted to host my own movie premiere, and I'm so glad I finally able to, thanks to the wonderful people at Romeo Gold Studios. Give it up for them. And I also want to address one thing I'm sure you guys saw at the end. We have a little dedication. That is my late grandfather. He passed away in 2018. He was my biggest supporter, my biggest fan, and I really wish he could be here tonight, but he's here in spirit, so let's give him a huge round of applause for always supporting me. Never give up on this crazy dream of mine. I also want to thank my entire family for helping me out with this, letting me pay less attention to school to make this film happen. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Dad. Pictures, we got Josh Bigelow as our wonderful photographer and videographer for tonight. This is Ryan's dad, Michael Romano.
Daniel, can you come up, and Tony and Sheree for a second? This is. I just had, take a moment here while we're all up here, and these guys, this is amazing, this journey. I don't think that they've stopped for a second to really appreciate. Ryan, come on up here by your buddy here. And the late nights, the collaboration. These guys are amazing when they get together. It's into the wee hours of the night. We quit looking at the clock and everything after, but that's when they do their work. And hard for us, to understand, just different generation and stuff. But when we did understand that a little bit, and just give them their leeway, cool things happen like this. And I don't know that you guys know, how cool something like this is that you're able to put together with that soundtrack, with the music, and just the harmony that these two guys have working together. I think that needs to be, But wow, this is something I've seen, and we've had a chance to listen to this Imposter this morning. We were binge listening to it just over and over. The soundtrack, like Nico was saying, was exciting. But this is over the top, really, you guys. This is really cool, something that you put together. And it's just a matter of, catching that next wave, and then they'll be off to the races and stuff. But I think this was, it was more than what I anticipated or expected. You guys, you just knocked it out of the park. Good job. Good job.
No, I mean, for me, it's funny because when we go back for Nico, he actually, I'm going to say, 4 or 5 years old is when he really started getting involved in videos. He was, doing these crazy little videos with his iPhone. With my mom. They were doing these silly little videos, and then, Nico got into puppets and doing these puppet videos and all sorts of crazy stuff. And, back then I'm like, okay.
I'll grow out of it.
He'll grow out of it. And, instead of growing out of it, he kept on, advancing and getting better, and honing in his craft. And, here we are, fast forward. I mean, myself in my own career, I never knew what I was going to do when I was Nico's age, and now I'm almost 52, and I still don't know if I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And, Nico, since he's been 5 years old, he's known the path and the journey he's wanted to take, and you know what, it's incredible, and me and your mom couldn't be more proud of, everything you've accomplished, and your journey's just beginning, guys, so.
I told myself I wasn't going to cry.
I did.
Oh my gosh.
This is terrific. Yes, thank you so much, Nico, for having me on board for this project. It is just, I mean, you guys saw the passion that is put into this project. It is such a small scale, and I think we, are able to convey that this is, the amount of people involved in this. Who would have guessed? Who would have guessed how many people? There's less than 10 people involved in this whole entire project. Who would have guessed that? Right, there you go. So, I think it is the coolest thing in the world, just to see all of that come together. I guess just to give a bit of background, Nico had me come on board for this project initially about a year ago now. And one of the first ideas that we had for the project was that finale scene that you saw there. So the song that I wrote, The Imposter, ended up, naming this movie, which is really cool. And I'm, glad to be able to use that narrative in the song.
Thanks for the name. It took forever to come up with the name. Thank you.
It was great. But no, this project itself is it's the coolest thing in the world. And so Nico and I started working together. We worked at a local TV station. We interned together just about two and a half years ago. So that started. We realized soon, or very quickly, that we had very complementary interests, which I think is something important to point out because you can very easily have interests that are identical, right? And you could have people that are working together, say it's music, you have people that join a band together, say it's, filmography, you have, people that are recording things together. We have very complementary interests. I like to make music, I make music videos, he works the cameras for him, it's fantastic, and then he makes movies, and you need music in a movie, I think it works well anyways, but no, it's such a complementary thing, so we've developed this working relationship, and it's such a tricky thing to say. I mean, you said yourself, best here, that we've developed such a groove, and we work so well together, and I'll be in Nashville in 55 days, so it's tricky. But no, it is a marvelous thing. This whole project has been such a beautiful thing, and I think something important to point out. The most fascinating aspect of all of this to me is the creative intent that was preserved throughout this whole entire process, right? If you have, I've always wondered how this works. You have a big production company, and you've got 100 people running every which way, to do one job or another on a big film set. How can you guarantee that each of those people are going to have the same exact creative vision that the initial writer-director would be? I mean, I think you've got that potential in you, you've got that dog in you, and you'll be sticking with it. So we've got, the cast and the crew and just all of these wonderful people sitting here among us, and it's such a great thing.
Joke, sorry.
It's such a great thing to be able to see that every person here has preserved the creative intent that you wrote this story for. This is, I mean, you strip it down, for the film aside, the music aside, it is a story. That is what, I think that it's safe to say, what I try to strive for with my own music is, in a big project, can you make someone feel every emotion that you can fathom? And I think that this movie does that fantastically. So for that, all of the emotions that are attached to the movie and the soundtrack itself, I'm really happy to announce that the Imposter, the original motion picture soundtrack, will be available on all streaming platforms on May 3rd. We've got 17 minutes and 16 seconds of music that you heard in the movie, and if you enjoyed it, it will be available everywhere that you can think to hear things, so it'll be great. But with that, I'll just say thank you so much for everything over the past, about 2.5 years now, working together and just developing that groove and just, everything that we have come to achieve, from the music videos to these movies to, just all of these projects. I think the biggest worry that I have going to Nashville is, am I going to find another Nico?
Oh, you guys are good, yeah, right.
So I think the biggest thing that we've talked about, in our very Lennon-McCartney-esque, dynamic here is, that it would be a crime not to work together again. So I wait for that day, and I cannot wait for that day. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for coming. We're gonna have the poster up here on screen. We got, of course, Josh taking pictures and stuff. So feel free to come up, take pictures and all that good stuff. Mingle, eat some more snacks of my dad's amazing popcorn. But other than that, if not, you're free to leave. Thank you all.